Welcome, 81st live stream. MLPDS, we have people, Alec Law, Vital, Masrick.
That, that,
That's our opening.
beautiful. Work of art.
And don't mind the robots, we're just feeling awfully robotic today.
Boop, boop.
Alright, so we're going to be
There's
doing...
no self-aware, I'll take care of it.
We're doing Woowis's picture today.
Yes.
We actually have two others posted on here, so if we look up, we got this yellow horse, and it's unshaded, and then we have their shaded horse down in the bottom. So we're actually going to do their shaded one and just quickly talk about the non-shaded one, because your OC is awesome, and we love some of the things done on it. Yeah, still waving my hand at it.
So I guess the first question I would say here is light sourcing. I'm trying to find a image reference that came to mind of light sourcing here, so stand by on that part. But I guess the question would be, are they here for one? Or
No, I don't think they are.
okay. Well, I guess my question first would be, just to say it out loud, is when you put your light sourcing in, what are you thinking about? I'm just saying this for reference for this and anyone else, is when you put your light sourcing in, try and think about the direction that it's coming in from and how that influences different surfaces. A surface is never just like a square or a circle. There are lines, there are bumps, there are different ways that the light hits the object and the different angles of it, per se. And that's going to influence it rather than just being straight. The easiest way is just to do it straight, and that's fine. It's a simple way to do it. But also, for as you continue to improve and continue to develop, think about the ways that the light will hit from different angles. And I'm looking through a few hundred things trying to find this one image that I'm thinking of. But start by which direction your light is coming from, and then analyze that. I definitely look at some references for it and see if, like, taking the image for example here, it just seems that where your light sourcing is coming from, it seems just slightly off in the back for the plot area up towards the back to the rest of the body. And you can kind of show that a bit more in the face, as well as, I'm losing my mind a while, but the face is the main thing that I'm kind of looking at, where it just seems flat. You show it towards the back, and that's good to see, but you can kind of bring that into the face just a bit more and show some of that texture, show a bit more of the three-dimensional viewing is what I'm trying to say. So what you got is a good start, but what I'd recommend is take a look at some examples about how light sourcing hits, especially the head section, from different angles. And what I would do is actually, when you start your light sourcing process, make an arrow from the direction that your light is coming from. So if, let's say, your light is coming from the top right, as it kind of looks like it is, or kind of the right itself, it looks more like it's coming from like a horizontal right, the top right, then draw an arrow there, and then that will give you kind of a visual reminder of saying, hey, this is where my light source is coming from. How does this influence the rest of my object or character or component? And then that can give you a development capability for how you take them further. And as soon as I find this image, I'll link in the chat to bring it up. Yeah, you got a good start so far. Just try and take a look at that on how you can continue to improve.
Alright, so I'm not actually seeing anything wrong with the breakdown of your pony and its proportions or anything like that. You've done a great job of studying your proportions and how these ponies are built up, and it shows in your pictures, like, wonderfully. So don't worry about that. You're doing an awesome job there. My suggestion to you is much like your other picture we have in our top left, that yellow pony. Break the mold a little bit. Just keep adjusting, keep changing them, make them yours. They don't have to be MLP style. They get to be your style. That is whatever you want it to be. There is a few, I'm not going to call them, they aren't proportion issues, just little oddnesses that happen. With your horn appears to be like a party hat stuck on the hair. That's because the hair actually isn't working around it. So if you have this very sharp edge that comes up and curves around it and then curves back, the hair's not going to float like that. Hair is a solid body. It sort of moves as its own will. So how it would move is it would curl up around it and then fall back down, or it'd curl around it. It wouldn't just sort of appear out of it. And this is a common thing that you'll see in all MLP, where the horns don't actually interact with the mane, except for in the new movie. But in the standard Flash-based show, the horn will never have an interaction, nor will the ears. They all just sort of live together and ignore each other. But as an artist, you get to break that. You get to do whatever you want to it. So my suggestion is make it physical, make it real, give it more body. Hope that makes sense.
I agree.
I see someone did some cute things with the tail. Just colored.
I quick did a little, because right now it felt a little, if you just get the eraser tool. So right now, the way you have it curving kind of feels confusing, almost as if it's just like a harsh bend. I'm not really seeing much overlap. It just kind of curves its way. And I feel like we could really unlock more flow to the tail, because tails are nice flowy, things. So of course we have the tail come out, and then the overlap is like the big thing that helps show things curving. So just like this little line right here makes all the difference to show it curving around the pony and having it a nice flow. It's not just like a angular crunch, which hair can do, don't get me wrong, but I think this will really benefit the piece itself.
Mm-hmm.
And also I just changed how it came out, just following that spine. Boop, right up.
So we don't have too many suggestions, and generally what this means is you gotta try and break your pictures harder by pushing yourself further.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's gonna sound like a pain in the butt, but you have shading. Your shading has come out pretty wonderfully. There's little refining you can do by giving more body to your hair, or to your body itself and mane and tail, just by treating them as 3D objects and working backwards. You already have a great skeleton for figuring out how to do that. You just have to abuse it a bit more. But my suggestion is now start adding environments around them. Even if it's just a foreground ball in front of them, give them something to interact with beyond just staring at the person drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep pushing your picture until it breaks horrifically. And then it's time to keep going. Something like that.
The only quick thing I'll mention is just be careful of the rim light. It's a little out of place with these kind of drawings, just because your outline is so dark, but then all of a sudden your rim lights are like this really bright thin line that kind of is the outline of the pony. So when you have it within an outline, and it's a very thick outline, it tends to feel a little off, like almost you forgot to fill in the rest of the shaded area. So just be careful of that and where you put it, because I noticed you kind of have it everywhere opposite of your light source, and that's not always true. Like, the rim lighting here won't exactly exist where you have it, and same here. So I would just really look at how light falls on something. Like, look at spheres and boxes, and really look into, like, there's a really great video. What's that really great video we always share with people when they want to look at lighting and shadow?
I'm going to post a few links there for the human element, but it'll give an example here in the chat. I didn't find the exact one I was looking for, but I do have about 5 or 6 other ones I'd reference. All right, so I put them in the Discord. I'm not sure if we can get the links put in the card because they're a bit too long, but each one of those there that I linked, 5 of them, they'll give a good example, especially for heads, on how the light hits from different angles or sections that build off what Ali is saying, but then also for body, about how when the light hits an area, how does it hit? Is it lighter? Is it darker? Is it going to be a certain specific shape or not? Or how each of the angles are represented. So with kind of going back to that, just complementing what they said, when the light hits the surface, it's not just going to be a line. I know simple with cell shading and other things like that, that's how it's done. So if you want to go that route, okay, that's good. But if you want to test your boundaries, if you want to push past the norm, per se, then these are ways that you can try and improve upon that, but then bring this into anything else that you do as well. So with this one that's up right now, I'm using Descartes again, tablet right now. Just kind of look where your light sourcing is, because if it's going to be from the horizontal right or the horizontal upper right corner or wherever else, it's going to affect the surfaces differently. It's not just going to be a line per se. There'll be only a few ways that it will be. But other than that, there will be differences. Each of the shapes are different, and there are different points of highs and lows that are brought in. And it would be advantageous for you to learn about how things are different with there, and then to develop that lighting to bring that into that reality in a sense. And you can do this with more than just lighting. This is color, this is line work, this is thickness of lines, this is beards, I guess if you want to say that even. Anything you can do with. So learning this is actually a good thing that you can develop for anything you do. And I'll turn back over to Allie, just kind of complimenting her with what she said.
No, I pretty much said my piece, and you gave a lot of good resources. So, I guess we can move on then.
We have a picture being tossed at us. So hold on to your butts.
Don't I want to protect my face?
Does that make you a butt face?
I mean, we all are butt faces.
Oh.
I learned long ago that it's not in the face protection, it's in how you move to deflect it.
I once tried deflecting art with my face. All I got was paper cuts.
Oh, I just take it to the face. Art's great.
I just sidestep out of the way. That's all I do.
Give me the arts.
Never. Alright, apparently their tablet pen broke.
Aww.
So they weren't able to finish it. I
hate when that happens.
Yeah, by all means, toss art at us whenever you feel, Binky, and we'll get to it. Alright, so Mr. Brickenwall, we've seen them before, and we'll hopefully see more of them.
Giant two pops up on the screen. Okay, so just going off the start here, one thing when I opened this up I really liked is actually how you were taking the color. I know we just kind of talked about light sourcing. I'm not sure if that's where you were going or not, but I really loved how the feathers on the outside of the wings came about with you adding those highlights to them. Like, I super loved that, and it looks really awesome how you did that. And I know it's a simple thing, but it just like pulls it out, and I love it. That being said, I think that you've done good with adding your color in and then trying to be messy with that to help to create your light sourcing from it. Of course, tablet pen breaking, things fixed up, of course, taking that away, notwithstanding. I'm liking how you're trying to take in a bit of that anatomical sense to things and your own stylization when it comes to the form and function. So it's not just simple, it's more realistic to it. And especially with the large wings kind of overpronouncing over the body, I like that. And that's just a personal taste of mine, but I think you do it really well in how you develop it into your character here. So overall, I like how you do your hair, your mane, and your tail. You kind of exaggerate and bring those into the flow of the body with the action of the character. That's good. The wings, I think, are great. Of course, always things to improve and take into effect. But for now, with the start that you have, I think you're on the right lane of doing that. And the final thing I'll say here is with the hooves and the legs, especially with the positioning of the body and all that, I think you do a good job with how you create that sense of action and emotion. And I really like how they're that long sense of the body. So I know that may not make sense in how I say it there, but I really like how you stylized everything into your own way of creating it. And you really show that in the character, especially with that front left shoulder. I think that just stands out to me as awesome. So that being said, what I would say here is overall continue to work on your lighting, continue to work on your highlights, especially for your brights and your darks. You can further continue to improve that, but what you're doing right now is coming across really nice. Just what I would say is define where your light source is coming from, like we talked in the past with the previous pieces, because it seems like it's a bit muddled. Now, I like what you have. I just would like to see a bit of definition from there. And if there's no light source, okay, that's great. I don't know that. So I'd like to see that a bit in your piece. But outside of that, just kind of maybe define the ears a bit more. And I mean, outside of the back, like define the back a bit more. Bring in those cavities, those darts there as well, because there'll be those different shapes and the muscles and the structure of the bones behind the scene rather than just being flat. Because with the back, that's kind of what I'm seeing. You bring that in with the shoulders, which is good. I can kind of see that with the shoulders right there. But outside of that, it just completely looks flat otherwise until you get to the back, into the butt area. So kind of bring that in a bit. Outside of that, though, that's kind of the major stuff that is just readily apparent to me. But overall, I like the piece. I like where you're going with this, and I really want to see this complete because I really want to see this complete. So I'm going to reiterate, I really want to see you complete this when your tablet pen fixes. And if not, sharpen one of your fingernails and use that or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I like what you have so far. Okay, so you were trying to do a nighttime piece and wasn't really sure of colors on the main. Okay, yeah, perfectly understandable. I know I don't deal much with nighttime pieces, so I think Allie and LD can speak more to that. But I definitely ask questions on how to develop that further and bring in the light sourcing there, because even at night, there's still going to be light. So define what your light source is. Is it going to be moon? Is it just going to be stars, new moon, full moon? Anything like that, because that will still have an effect, or light being reflected off of surfaces, or there being secondary light sources around. So define what your light is and where your scene is, and that will help you define the colorization and the lighting of the character per se. Since the character is not going to be emanating light, I assume. It's not Twilight Sparkle, so therefore probably not. So define your idea of your scenery, and that will help you define the lighting on your character. And that's all I gotta say right now.
So he basically said it all. Minor change to the neck and head. I just pull the head back a little bit so you don't have this elongated neck. And you created this ridge across here. I'll do it up in red. Whoop. I wouldn't put that there because that muscle group doesn't really make sense in how it's created. I would just smooth out the neck and let it flow from that lower bit of the shoulder, or just beneath the shoulder, out. And that'll make more sense to the general shape of the horse, especially for how thin you have the rest of the body. That's all I got for this one. Allie, you got anything?
My big thing will be, I want you to really, really reference birds next time.
Birds.
The wings, are kind of broken in some areas. If we look at the wing closest to us, let me just go back to it. I was trying to see if I could Photoshop a bird over her to give an idea. Where is Dropout? There it is. So, let me get a better color. So, the wing here feels very broken, and the wing here feels like it's facing the wrong direction. Like it's going forward and out instead of behind her and down. So I really gotta stress, references are gonna be your best friend. And to really help the elegance of the wings go, they're just gonna emphasize how good this will be if you just get those bird references. I found a really, really great owl that has a really exciting pose with nice wings, interesting. Post it to Picarto. I feel like that would make a great, because it's kind of like she's landing, so there's that force the wings, pushing to help slow down as, the grace of the landing. It's kind of just what I Googled. I Googled birds landing. Because to me, that's what I'm interpreting. She's kind of coming down from flight.
I was getting that she's about to take off. Like, spring off.
Well, there's that you could Google for that as well. I just figured she's coming down because her tail's so high up in the air.
I guess kind of a way to help better understand what Ali's saying as well. Ali, if I can jump on your point real quick.
Go ahead.
Maybe this will help explain what you're trying to explain too, is look at the sense of gravity and create a sense of artificial gravity in your piece. So again, your character here, correct me if I'm not, is supposed to be in a three-dimensional world. And if not, okay. But with a three-dimensional world, there are forces at play. Now, in our standard world here, we have gravity. With flight, there are four forces. There's lift, thrust, drag, and gravity does. Simple stuff gets me sometimes. Like, I'll see the stuff all the way across, but I won't see the stuff right in front of me. Anyways, so with flight, there's four forces. With reality, there's four major forces that affect it. Gravity is one, magnetism is another, et cetera, et cetera. So the thing I'm getting is there are both limiters and there are both, I'm just going to say progressors because I can't think of a word for it. There's stuff that allows things to happen and stuff that limits things to happen. In this sense here, with what Ali's saying, kind of look at gravity. Look at how if you have a creature landing or a creature moving in a certain direction, what forces are going to act upon it? And then how are those forces going to act upon it? Does that mean that the wings are going to be in this way because they're heavy objects probably that are going to have their own muscle structure and things like that? So how are they going to look when in this position when gravity, lift, drag, or momentum, forward, back, whatever, affect that force, affect that structure? And if they're going to do that, how? I think take, for example, something you've already done in this piece, your body work, with how you did the legs and the body in the stance that it is. Of course, there's an action to it, but you affect a sense of artificial gravity and momentum and emotion already to those pieces for the head and with the body. You also do it with the mane and the tail. Take that same sense that you've been using there and now bring it to the wings. I love what you've done with them, but take that and try and apply it there as well. And if you can do that and take those references that Ali has spoken to, which is on point with what you need to be doing there, then you can bring that into your sense of reality you're creating, allow those forces to exist, and show that sense of tangible reality that you wish to create. God, man, I need to be recording this.
It is being recorded.
I need to just record it myself too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it goes up on YouTube.
I'll go for it later then. I keep forgetting that. But yeah, and also fun fact, birds are dinosaurs, according to Strangosaurus.
It's true facts.
Yeah, but on that note too, with kind of the question you asked as well about facial expressions, I put a few links in the Picardo chat for you. One is the first standard Google search. You can find a lot of great references with facial expressions already with MOP. So what I would recommend is look to your favorite artists, but also look to easy references online that you'll find. One artist that comes to mind is KP Shadow Squirrel. Now, they do a lot of pony studies for each individual pony or different actions and things that they do, as well as different facial expressions. And they do like hundreds, literally hundreds of these. And so what you can do is you can look at them, see how they do those expressions, bring that sense out that you want to look for, and then see how that can be modeled and do some study sketches of these expressions. Look at the jaw on how you can pose that. What's a Pokemon's another individual I would look into with their how-tos. They're simple, but they're effective in showing you the basic foundations of anatomy. And then I'd also look into I'm forgetting a bunch of other artists because this hasn't been on my mind for the past over a month now. But Assassin Shadow would be another one. And then, I don't know, I could go into plenty of other artists here as they come back to me that I would reference. But in the end, I would say look towards your favorite artists, the ones that you've really started to develop MOP from, and see how they create. See how each of these pieces, from the jawline to the body to whatever, create the sense that you're trying to create. You've done it with the body, and that's good. Now take that into the head and into the maw. And if you can bring it there, then you got it. And somebody laughed when I said maw. I'm not sure why.
No, it's the take it to the head comment.
I don't get it, but okay.
Never mind.
But don't worry, if you get it, just laugh. I have no clue. But yeah, if you can take it to that, then I think that you have it made. So just look to those references, as Ali said. References are going to be one of your best and most important allies in everything you do. There is no stealing in art. There is using references, okay? There is plagiarism, but that's something different. So don't be afraid to use references. Don't be afraid to do studies. Don't be afraid to try things and bring that into a sense of being. If you can do that, you can understand how a line does what from what perspective. You can understand how a circle of an eye looks from this perspective. You can bring that into how the muscles work and into this emotion. You can bring this into et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, you can develop into what you're trying to develop. And as long as you're able to do that and willing to do that, then you'll have no problems whatsoever. I'm not sure what else to say, really.
I think all has been said. Unless there are any further questions, we'll move on to the next one.
Yep. I want to see this piece complete, so you better come back with a complete piece, and you let me know.
I might have to repair their tablet first, though.
Dang tablets.
After the fact, though, but nonetheless, I want to see this one complete, because I really love the body work on this.
No one saw anything?
What?
Mod Pie by Binky.
Yeah.
Alright, Bink, I have a question for you. Was the picture just too awesome that you had to smash the tablet? Because they broke their screen too while doing this. Or around the time of making this.
Gosh, you guys. You're so strong.
You're just getting swole at the gym. The tablet's fine.
So is this Blinky, then? Just ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was there any description or any questions with it, for this piece?
Not yet.
I think one's coming here. Okay. And do not forget, there is an Aggie for drawing as well. We require more sacrifices onto the drawing here.
Definitely. I feel like if we're critiquing your art, you should probably hop onto there. Just saying. Just draw a little cute pony. A cute pony.
Great way to study as we go. And Living Dead will also love you if you do it.
Well, I'll love you anyway, but...
Well, true, but still.
Something to bring up on the perspective between the body and the wall. The body is pointing in a different way than the wall is, and you'd like to work on that? Hey, have you heard of thumbnailing? Thumbnailing is the wonderful thing of doing the small, quick box. Doesn't need to be in a box, but anyway, small, quick picture where you just sort of get a good idea of what your picture is. Anyway, so we got pony, 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 gonna be sitting on pony wall. Pony, pony. And then after we thumbnail, it's easy to take the thumbnail and then scale it to the sketch. And we go, whoa, final sketch. Let's just start laying out our groundwork here. We're going to make wall, and if the pony's going to be sitting on this plane, I need to make sure to identify which angle this is moving at. Wall. Yes, that is red. I'm red. So now we've identified which angle it's sitting at, and then we can work the pony onto that angle by quite essentially doing what Ali has done and working it in 3D. I believe that's Ali's pencil.
Yes. Boxes are your friends, even if shapes are organic. Boxes help direction. So, yeah, a lot of it's just breaking it down and considering interaction. She's kind of, if we look at it, you're right, she kind of looks like she's sliding off the wall. Like there's nothing keeping her sitting. There's no like butt squish and leg overlap to where it bends over the wall. It's kind of just like a gradual slope from her butt to her leg. So it's like things like that can really help showing bend increases and how, like, if you sit on a wall, what do you look like? It's just thinking simple things like that, really seeing how your legs sit, or, of course, references. I'll bring it up again and again and again because I believe in the importance of always having a reference. Even the amazing artists you all look up to, they all use references, guarantee it.
Except for Allie.
No, I love my references. Don't you dare take them from me.
She'll fight you for them.
I will fight you for my right to a reference.
She shall fight you on the beaches. She shall fight you on the countryside.
Although she'll probably just be relaxing on the beach, really.
Well, I'll just be making a sandcastle.
Now I want to make sandcastles.
Sandcastle day.
Is there a beach by BrownieCon? Anyway, other conversation for other time.
I know, references are hard to get into, whether it's just like, oh, I don't want to have to look at something and then I feel bad when I can't get it right to look like the reference, or it's, some people also feel that like, oh, references are bad to use, I'm just copying. No, they are there to help you. In fact, part of many people's processes is just reference gathering. It's kind of like an idea board. You pick up the things you want your image to look like and also use to reference when drawing the image. And it's not just about finding one reference. Find many references.
The more the merrier.
Exactly.
Okay, so a few things I want to bring up here once Allie is complete. So, talking what she needs to talk about.
No, I really, really want to push, like, I could sit here and redline this for you, but in reality, I think the way that it'll help you learn even more is if you go out and get those references and, like, really see, like, consider the interaction with how she's sitting, considering, the angles she's sitting at, how is like, does she feel like she's sliding off the wall? Does it feel like she's planted on the wall, sitting there relaxing? These are the things that, like, because you do some good stuff, and I feel like we could keep redlining your stuff for ages, but this is something like you're going to learn so much more if you let yourself go out, do research, do find the references. You see obviously what's wrong. You see the people said that her perspective's off, and honestly, a few of us have said she's not really sitting on the wall itself. She's more sliding off the wall. So now that you know that, use that information to go out and find references and look and see and try to fix it from there. Because that's a big part about being an artist, is like going out and doing the work and finding the research, and it's refining, and like you can spot the problem and you can fix it yourself. That's a huge thing. But that's all I have to say now.
Okay, well, I got a few things here. So one, we put a few links in the I almost said Pinterest now, Picardo. So many of these things sound alike, dang it. The Picardo chat. So I want you to open these up, and I think it'd be good on the stream as well. So one, there's the first one. It's a simple image. I think it links to a video later on you can find, but I recommend looking into it. This is about perspective. So there's both a 1, 2, and 3-point perspective that you can look into. But when I look at your piece, the questions that come up here is, first off, where's your horizon line? Where are your vanishing points? And what do you define as the central constructional foundation for your piece? Now, the reason I ask that is because your construction phase for how you build your piece is by far one of the most important things you can do. And it will set the foundation, pun I guess intended, to how you develop everything from your brick wall to your character to its positioning, so on and so forth. So that image right there, I think, is a good, simple way to show 1, 2, 3-point perspective, vanishing points, horizon lines, et cetera, in their rawest form on how they can have the effect there and why they're important. So 2, right there is a good image that I wanted to reference. For example, here, on bringing in a bit of perspective to characters with 2 paints. So one is a before of a little teddy bear character, Care Bear or something, I don't know. And then there's an after one when they bring in perspective. So from a front view where you see only really a 2-dimensional to a kind of 3/4 view of a before after the same character, but showing a bit of perspective, having those lines, having that plane effect that you build character up from, so forth, so forth.
Oh,
And what you can do with that.
audio's breaking up. Hold on. Just hold on.
Well,
Stand by.
Please stand by as we complete this call. Alright, let's try again now. Patrick?
We're good.
No, it still seems mostly broken. Unfortunately, he hasn't responded to us, so there's not much we can really do right now.
I'm so confused. You want me to keep talking, or?
Yeah, just keep going.
I was very confused as well. But anyways, what you can do is you can take that sense of perspective that you develop from there into your character. So you can pull in a understanding of composition, and rather than just having something that's flat, I think we're good here.
Yeah, sorry everyone who's trying to listen. The audio is breaking up. There's issues in Discord. We're just trying to pound our faces against Discord and hope it works. Unfortunately.
No worries.
Oh, you sound clearer now.
All right. We're selling selling enhanced audios for $19.95 plus tax later on after the show.
Yeah.
DLC content included. But what you can do with that is you can bring that understanding into your character with how you construct them. So what I would recommend is start with a plane method. I think that second image shows it well. Start with where you want your character sitting and build up from there. Building that three-dimensional space allows you to bring in, first off, the 3D object. Simple, maybe rectangle or whatnot. But then from there, you can develop your character out because you'll have the understanding of that composition, where that mass lies, and then how much that mass is to be structured in your 3D realm you're creating. It's like take your brick wall in that piece there. In that wall, you create a three-dimensional box. Now, if that's where your reference point is, then you structure that out. So I would draw a plane on top of that wall, and then from that plane, build your character up. And there's an image here I'm going to link next, combining arcs of movement with the box. That I think does a good, if it links to the right page that way, because not many people can see Pinterest. But that way it brings a sense of understanding to how you can construct. I got so many tabs and Windows open, it's ridiculous. But right there, I think it's a good image to show you how you can use the box method, the plane method, to build your character, build your scene up using a sense of perspective and composition. So what I would recommend to you, because there's plenty more I can link, but I would recommend looking this up because this will take your drawing and your sense of three-dimensionality to literally the next level. And pun was intended there. I thought that was pretty awesome to make it. But anyways, it will take what you do to the higher next level of things and allow you to take a character like this that's flat, a character like this that doesn't have that sense of dimensionality that you want to create, to that level to where it has it. So start with the thumbnailing that was talked to. Start with developing a sense of perspective. And then from there, take that and build it up. And it will give you a good beginning foundation. And overall, I think the character's good. I think you hold to the character well and you're able to draw and color it well. So there's no problems there. It's just look into how you construct. I think that's where you are. And I'm not sure what else to say right now without linking more references.
I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Brick in a well. All right. Unless we have further questions, we're going to move on to the next one.
Oh, I did have one question for you, Blanky, though, since you're here, that I wanted to ask. Now, I'm talking a lot, jeez. It's more than I talked in over a month. But I wanted to ask you, Blanky, here, your Anthro character, you said that this is one of your first times drawing Anthro and all that. It's new to you and you want to expand on it. So my question for you is, what type of Anthro are you going for? And the reason I'm asking is I'm looking at the legs. So, oh, okay. So back to the question here, I want to ask, what type of, I guess origami the entire time I was saying that, sad face. But what type of anthro are you going for in your character? You said you're new to it, so where are you looking to go with this? Okay, so semi-anthro. The reason I wanted to ask you this question here is because there's different types of that, and I just okay, that explains it. So just you know what you're defining, so I don't really need to say much on this. Just look into structure on how you do your anthro, which like no problems here. I just wanted to ask because a lot of people do digigrade, some people won't. Some people will do different ways to bring in. Some people do completely humanized with a head of a different species or whatnot. So just look at what you're trying to do. Study artists that have that sense of how they do that, and bring it into your piece like you are. So overall, if you're doing plantigrade, no problems here. If you start doing digigrade, then that's going to change the legs up. If you want to do more realistic, if you want to do more fantasy, it all makes a difference. So just study what you're looking to try and do. And then from there, develop that into how you want to develop it. So that's all I really had to say there since you had your answer. But yeah.
Nothing to thank. We're just happy to help. You totally can do this. You just gotta take those steps, do them researches.
Yeah, I think you have a good start here, and that's the hardest thing. Just to tell you, okay, seriously, the hardest thing is doing it. And the thing is, you're creating. Okay, you're making something. You're trying. You're making mistakes, and that is fantastic. That's what you exactly need to do, is do it. Most people won't. Most people will say, "Oh, it's great. I'd like to try," and "Oh, if only I could." And they want to dream about it. You're actually making it real. So that's what you should be doing. And honestly, if you're doing that, thank yourself for that, because you're actually making it real. You're bringing your ideas and your reality into fruition, and you're making something great. Sure, there's always going to be things you can improve. I know it's hard. Even Audi Claus says that she's not perfect. Okay, that's tough to believe, but
no way perfect.
I'm always going to poke fun at these guys, but yeah, the thing is, you're doing this. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. There's going to be things to improve, but that's part of the process. As long as you continue to try, continue to actually apply to it and learn as you go, ask for critiquing and feedback, and do the work necessary, you will get better. You may not see it, but when you look back from this point to your beginning, and then a year from now, do the same thing, and so far, you will see the differences you make. And that's what it takes. And then you'll have other people saying the same thing to you. "Oh, your stuff is amazing. Oh, your stuff is great. How can I do this? How?" And then you can tell them from your experience saying, "Hey, this is where I started. This is what I did. I messed up every single step of the way. But through those mistakes, I learned and got better." And that's what it will take. It will be hard, and at times it will be hell. But through that, you will get better. And yeah, like you said there, improving because it won't look right. You've been scared of that. That's completely understandable. I think we've all had that. But the thing is, in the end, you will get better. You will move forward. You will mess up. And the messing up is what it takes. You're going to learn 1,000 things more so with every mistake you make than if you do everything right all the time. If you succeed in everything you do, you're going to fail through your success. But if you fail, if you mess up, if you mistake through your processes, you will succeed through it because you'll learn. And then your phone will ding and then probably scare people in the chat. But yeah, you'll learn and you'll create. And remember, art is only mistakes people have made and went with. Every change in art, from the individual to the giant trends of art, have been people making mistakes and doing things differently. That's literally all art is people messing up and deciding to go with it. And then other people liking it. There is no bad thing about doing something different. You're doing something amazing. You're actually doing it. And you're leaving something behind that shows your progress to creating something great. There is nothing bad with that. The only thing that truly is failure is if you decide to quit. So don't quit. Keep going. And one of these times I want to see you sitting, doing this drawing. You're sitting on a wall or something, frolicking on a field with you, Vital Mender, Living Dead, and Alley Claw. I want you to draw that one of these times here. That'll be a goal for you in the future, all right? So I want to see you do a drawing like that in the future. I think you'll have fun with that. So anyways, good job. Keep it up.
All right, let's go on to the next one then.
Woo! Which one's our next one?
It's going to be the pony done in the black etching with the grid paper.
Graph paper?
Yeah.
Sure thing.
And this is by... where the heck did the post go? Drop the post. Crap. No, where did I put it? Fruit is. Yes, Fruit is. It's been a while. Would like to know if I've improved on something. They haven't actually asked what the something is, so they're just wondering if they've improved at all, I guess.
Do you have any past pieces of them that you're aware of right now?
I'll have to dig through their Reddit post. Looking at their history, because it's creepy. No.
It's not creepy.
Everything's posted online. When you get rid of it, it's still there.
That's the previous Reddit post.
All right. Awesome. You see, continuity is vital, Mender.
You didn't just do that.
Dem robots.
I like puns.
I don't think we're gonna get Itosh before we finish the stream. Alright, so let's work on this. Let's go over this picture. Building up pictures. Everyone still alive with me?
Yeah, accidentally exited out of the stream.
Ellie, did you run off?
Okay.
Ran off with Vital. Got it.
I'm still here.
To join a new life in the... I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this one. Alright. Don't forget both ears. Both ears exist. Draw them both on for your initial sketch. You can erase the pencil once you put down the second, or once you put down the main, if it's going to cover the entire ear. If it's not going to cover the entire ear, whoosh, leave it on. And they're asking about line wibbly wobbly timey wiminess. Unfortunately, best way to avoid wobbly lines: go quick. Whoosh-ah. Quick lines means you don't have wobbliness. Now, I know that's going to be a real pain in the butt for your inking, but the way you can pull this off is, instead of using your wrist to do all the strokes, because wrist is not as accurate and not as smooth, because it does all like sort of bobbles and wobbles and movements, you're going to use your arm, like your elbow, and your shoulder. What this means is you're going to rotate the page about, find which angle is best for throwing or pulling a line towards you, and you're going to throw out those lines. So we're going to see this neck one, and I'm going to rotate my entire tablet here, and pull one towards me and go, woo! Oh yeah, looks pretty good. And we're going to turn towards the butt. We're going to go, Alright, we got the pen sort of hovering above placement. We go, wee! And we go, oh no! What did I do? Luckily, on a digital tablet, it works. but we have barely any resistance, so it's a little weirder. And pen, I find it a lot easier to do quick strokes. You can just build your way around. So the gist of that entire run-on sentence was, be quicker. Be quicker on your strokes. You can prep them for a while, but when it comes down to actually throwing on the ink on the paper, you got to be quick in that movement, or else it's going to create wobbly-bobbliness. It also looks like you're using a very, like a 0.2 height, or 0.2, no, a 0.2 inking pen, like maybe one of the Pilots or Staedtler or Sharpie. My suggestion would be move up in brush size. Go out on Amazon or whatever, if at all possible, and pick up a set of microns. They do these box sets that have 5 or 6 different sizes in them, and they go from brush size to one. I think it's, I don't actually know the size, what one translates to, but 1 as the size. It's pretty large. It's a nice large brush, and then it works its way down to 0.005. They're great markers. They feel great, and they have good control just because the brush on them, or the felt tips, have a lot of resistance, so they're easy to put that little bit of weight behind to throw out those wonderful lines. I do like the construction you've done. We can see all the construction lines you have underneath your pony. That's great. Keep that up. Go grab your references a little bit, because we can see, if we compare your head to your body is actually a bit short. You want to lengthen that out just a bit, because it should be approximately 1.5 heads in length. What? That's all I got for this one. So to recap, throw your lines, make them quicker, and don't be afraid of using your references to do up all your horses here. Anyone else?
Nope, you did a really great job.
Just one thing here to say that came to mind while you were talking about it. But I see that you did your first initial construction in pencil. Good for you. Just saying, I just want to say that. Great for you there. You started out with your construction, and that is perfect. I see that you have your lines in there trying to understand the legs, your points for the joints and all that. That is exactly what you want to be doing. So you have a good firm start on trying to create the structure. And honestly, that's one of the best things you can do in your initial construction for building or learning how to build, is doing your construction phase and understanding what each of the elements are in play. So continue to work on that. Continue looking at references and understanding on that. I'd look into the heads for perspective on how eyes are looked at, or where their placement would be on the body, how the maw or the muzzle is, and where it is located for placements and all that. And I'm not saying you're doing this wrong. I'm just saying continue to look at that. And then look at the body and how it's constructed. And then try it from different view angles. So if you turn the pony around, your circles there for the body are going to become closer and closer. And then you will draw the body from there. Or if you move them farther away to a side view, it will be farther and farther. So play around with that. Don't be afraid to just sketch with pencil and do that. Just try it. Actually try and make mistakes. Like, try and mess up. Try things just to see how they work together. So that way you can understand and say, hey, this is how it works. Don't try being perfect. Just try it to say, hey, this is how this works. This is how this looks. This is how from this angle this would be viewable. I can understand how this is done now. I would recommend also taking pieces of art from artists that you love. So like, go out and actually find your pieces of art that you love the most. And then take that, I would take like a screen of it, and then actually try tracing on it and drawing on it. Now, I'm not saying copy. I'm not saying do any of that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying try it to see how the artist did that. So take a piece from whomever they, and whatever, and then trace a bit of it. Say, oh, this is how this worked. Oh, this is how this looks. Oh, this is how these lines work. And now I understand how this goes back, and I can apply that to this. And if you do that, that will be one way that you can understand the construction of the piece, and that can help you improve upon this even further. So overall, I would recommend doing your own take on General Zoi's Ponymaker per se, on how they can move those joints around, things like that, and make a leg, almost an arm, move in one direction or another. And do it like that. Take this pony here, and then apply movement and motion to each of the different pieces to see how they move and how their joints work. Because then you can come back and draw that later and have a better understanding of fluidity and a sense of construction and composition. And when you do that, then you can create more pieces. Then you can create movement and motion. Then you can create action lines, and you can create all this other stuff. And then from there, you can develop into shading, adding on additional parts, clothing, horns, I almost said arms, but wings, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can get to where you want to go as a step-by-step process. So overall, great start. Fantastic start here. The next thing I want to see you take on now is drawing in tails, drawing in manes. I want to see you take that next, understand how to do that, and then add it in, and then try it from different angles. And if you do that, then you'll understand how to create a full pony, and then you can work on expressions, and then you can work on perspective, and then you can work on actually creating scenes. And that's going to be a great way to go. But in reference to your past one here, I recently made this, I want to know your opinion about proportions. I think that maybe Fluttershy, I'm not sure. But I can't ever tell. But like, I can see improvements from this already, especially with your head. The forehead, how it goes up into the head below the mane. I can already see in this piece that you've improved that. You may not have a mane there, but you've improved the head scope. And that's fantastic. So you've already made improvements in here. Your ears, you definitely show improvement in your ears and how those look in the body. I'm going back and forth between each piece now. And overall, I mean, I'm already seeing improvements from what you're doing. And this is only just 2 pieces I'm seeing. And from when you submitted this 11 days ago. So, I mean, in 11 days' time, like, I'm already seeing improvements in what you've done. It may not look like much to you, granted, but take it from my word. You are doing improvements here. And continue that. You're not going to see it often, but I'll tell you, from other people's perspectives, you are making improvements. So keep that up, keep progressing forward, and keep studying. It's going to get a whole lot better. All right, I'm going to be silent again.
All right, I think we should move on to the next one then.
Ready to go?
Squirrely. Hey, Vital, you there?
Uh-huh.
You want to help on this one?
Sure.
All right, we got wings for you. We know you love your wings.
Boop, boop.
Being the Flappy Birdie type.
Fun.
It is the one by Lewis. It's the pony that's fully colored, floating on the clouds. It's Pegasus. Wait, no. Is it? No, it isn't. It's not Lewis. Who is this? Allie, I have to stop clicking out of tabs. This causes problems.
You're just a pony. You make mistakes from time to time. Yeah.
Where was I?
Not really sure what you want me to do with show style wings, because show style doesn't really have any wing anatomy to begin with.
I think you said anime, and the first thing that came to mind was Attack on Titan, which I've never watched, but for some reason I looked at this piece and that came to mind.
Huh? Hey, don't.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the whoever did it. There's a lot of posts this week, and I forgot who we all listed. No, that's a post. Sorry, it just takes a moment when I accidentally click out of tabs. Weekly challenge, making sure it didn't stop. I think this was Steam Flash. Yes, Steam Flash. There we go. This is by Stream Flash. Hello again. They've not done, or I've not been doing great with increasing how much I practice. Getting comfortable in this, or getting comfortable position is something I have not achieved, and it's continuing to discourage me from sitting and drawing. Tilting the drawing tablet helped get closer to it, but I still have to alter it more to get comfortable. Anyway, here's some practice. I managed to draw at least something recently, so I thought I'd share. It's not much, but didn't want to stop posting for too long. The far wing needs some adjustment, I feel. Legs might be a bit long, arms seem okay, the rest looks alright. I know the lines aren't clean, and this is just a neat sketch layer. I'm looking for help with proportions and pose. I hope I can get more stuck into practice soon once I find a comfortable position for drawing. As always, thanks in advance for reading and replying. So,
Woohoo!
The question I have for you with wings is, how do you properly position your wings based on the horse's skeleton, and how do you make sure they're pointed in the right sort of direction? Because you're very skilled with your wingage. Does that make sense, Vital?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on.
Alright, and I'd like to remind everyone that there's still a Picarto going. Please feel free to join in. If you're having problems with it, try it on Edge. It works pretty well on Edge. If that doesn't work, you can try Chrome or Firefox, and it has a plugin found in their help to find... Yes, I mean Aggie, not Picarto. We're already in... Yes. Whoops. Anyway, it has a plugin you can find on their help menu, and it's wonderful. It's full of all sorts of lovely little horses. Look at this thing.
Well, now it's animals.
Yeah, there's, well, the obvious potatoes.
My tablet's not working, so I'm going to have to do it with a mouse. Is that okay?
That's fine. Allie, do you see anything wrong? I see something wrong with how the tail is placed. That back leg, what's your thoughts on that one?
The back leg feels like it's at the wrong angle. Like the back leg is trying to be, like we're looking at a side view, but clearly the body is at a 3/4 view. So I think we're running into trouble with that.
How would you correct that?
Let's see. Well, first I need to do me some drawing because I love me my undersketching. It is friends with us all.
Always undersketch. Now, they did do plenty of undersketching for this. They have a progression from references all the way up to their sketch layer. It's wonderful.
And I have no doubt I am just so much easier to undersketch to understand.
You know which one we're working on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is my color not coming up?
I don't see anything from you.
Okay, my computer had to freak out and disconnected everything for a little bit, so that's why none of my stuff is coming up. Continue while I set up.
Well, she reconnects. Just a small correction to the tail. We can see Vital here has drawn the spine for us, and that applies to both the wings and the tail and the arms. So we're using it for the tail. The start of the tail is actually the end of the spine. It's the same bone section. So we're going to follow that across the surface of the, rump behind here, and out of it, here I'll do it in some red, spawns the tail. So we can see there would be the tail. And it's just at like the top 3/4 of that circle, depending on which direction. Yeah. Yes. Top 3/4 of the behind. can be a bit annoying to place, but once you start just following it across the top of the spine, it makes life easier for you. And then you can happily just place it wherever you need on that location. Well, Vital finishes this up. I'm fine with seeing no other ear on that side because the mane would completely cover it. The eyes look good. I would suggest sanding off the tip of that nose. Just get rid of some of that point, as Maze said to you. Yeah. And once Allie manages to convince her tablet to work again, she'll talk about this back leg. I suggest giving it a good shake.
Just beat it up a little bit, you know.
Yeah, rough it up.
Now, right now, I'm sketching underneath of it, so I don't ruin any of the lovely lines being worked on right now. Just to do some play and figure it out.
Sorry, oh, you're working under it? Like, not
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
Because, yeah. I don't wanna mess with the sketches going on right now.
I've zoomed in too much to see your work. Yep. He changed it to east. That's why our audio is wonderful again.
Yay!
Weird. He was walking. What is that?
What is what?
Walking.
The thing, I think, where your body moves. Actually, I'm being very silly. There is a reference the show gave us recently that is a perfect reference for this pose.
You have a perfect reference?
Mm-hmm. The show gave it to us.
Is it Twilight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah! That was a fun episode.
It was indeed. I'll just, I'll post it for the peoples to see. I'll also post it in the Discord, because cool people. There's the voice chat channel. Boom. She's spinning. She doing that thing of the ballerina.
I finally just watched the end of this season, by the way. Or I don't know how long or whatnot.
Just like that, I lost the reference. I mean, I didn't lose it. Wrong tab. So quiet.
Dun 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 dun. Oh wait, no, that's not allowed. Just hide.
Copyright.
Oh God, he's gonna get me.
So one thing that comes to mind here is if you're looking at leg placement, I think this would actually help. I'm bad with names, but the previous artists that we were talking about as well, their work. I can't remember names. I'm bad with names. But one of the things I think that could help you is What's a Pokemon actually did a great simple reference guide for drawing legs. It's actually a flash animation that you can look through that shows the lines, construction, and everything else. I'll link it in the Picardo chat for you too. I would recommend for both yourself and the past artists that we just talked about, I can't blast the names, take a look at that, and you may be able to glean some ideas that you can develop into your future works as well.
Man, it'd be nice if they were here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't. Alright, I'll allow it, because it's What's a Pokemon. Bang. This one can actually be found on our subreddit under the exterior guides link.
Right, I think it's page like 3 or 4. That will give you a good view. Go a few more. Guess a few more. Yeah, keep going.
You're
there you go.
30 seconds behind me.
I know, I can't bring up my tablet. It doesn't allow me to bring up the stuff on the tablet anyway, but that's what I want to show right now. It's showing at Picardo. So that wireframe model, look into that because that's going to give you a great view on how to learn how to construct, especially from different perspectives or different motions. And I think that that would do extremely well in learning, as you were saying, that you were looking at trying to learn and understand a bit more how to do that. But actually, on that note too, I had a past conversation. I've been looking through all my Discord chats here. I finally found it. I have to clean it up, but I put together a nice Google document here with that conversation. And I think this could give you... Don't hit talk button while doing that. So it's a bunch of references from other artists that I kind of talked to in my own parts and linked as I was talking to some people on the far past about this. I'm going to link it in the Picardo for you. I recommend looking at here again. This is none of my work. This is all other people I've known or have done tutorials that I've just compiled together, for example, and just describe my own words. So you can look at that. It's probably the easiest way I can put it up until I clean it up a bit more. But if you're looking at basic construction techniques or how different artists do what they do or how they try to explain it, that's one reference I'd recommend keeping, so that way you can understand how that's developed. And yeah, I'll clean it up later. One thing that does come to mind, I would say here, is try and picture your character that you're drawing as a three-dimensional being and bring in those lines of construction. Try and put that three-dimensional sense into it rather than kind of more 2D, which is what it comes off to me as. Now, it's good for basic construction like you have. Just try and superimpose that this is a three-dimensional object. It has mass, it has bone structure and composition, everything in it, and then bring that sense into what you're creating too. So I guess it seems kind of flat. Now, I know this is just your beginning, so just take that into mind when you are trying to draw on a 2D surface that you want to make this three-dimensional. And if you keep that in your mind, then you'll start to create that and just try and bring out that view a bit more.
Shoot, how do you move sketches? I'm trying to like.
Which layer is this on, Allie?
I think I got it. I can move it. How do I make it stay?
You click off of it.
There we go. Okay. So, after some playing and sketching and Using references, because they're the best. Pretty much, the big thing here is the direction of the leg. Right now, if I were to draw cylinders over your leg, they feel very flat, like it's just going straight back, 2D. Where on mine, is if you could see, pretty much it's going behind the character. There's these overlaps here that show depth, and that it's not only going, it's not going to the side. Like if I draw a 3D arrow, well, it would be more like, sorry. Boom, boom. It's not quite like that. It's more, boop, boop. It's facing back. But how these 3D arrows are annoying sometimes. But, yeah, these are things I would be careful of. And I know the tail covers up a lot of this, but it's always good to draw whatever's under the tail, of course. So it's playing with these overlaps, seeing how the legs bend, using all these references you can. Because, like, the Twilight reference has some things, because, shows never always perfect with anatomy. They do what fits in animation. So just I would be careful that. Work on pushing the angles you have. I'm trying to think if we could, let's see. So we have the belly, slow down, of course, leg. And a lot of this is just like sketching. You take it one bit at a time, try not to rush yourself, really play with it, draw as much as you need to. If you do a few layers, be messy, let yourself discover. All that fun, the fun parts of art. Oh. Yay. So something more along these lines. Hopefully that makes a little more sense. And there's like a few colors going on. But yeah, otherwise you got some good stuff going on. It's just little things to push here or there to really show depth and character and such. That's all I got to say.
Alright, I think we got one more picture to do, and then we're going to call it a day, unless if anyone has any art they'd like to throw at us. So, the last picture.
Okay, we actually have one more after this that I think May's Temporal has been linking in the chat as well.
Which chat?
The Picard chat. I remember seeing it in there a few times, so I just want to make sure we weren't missing it.
Didn't we do theirs?
There's a piece with Fluffy's eye in it. I do remember that. I just don't have the link of it at the moment.
Ah. Then no, we haven't done that one. So this one is by Cynical Tree Sap. And new style, what do you think? First of all, I see Pokemon. Apparently people are painfully addicted to it. I don't know what's going on.
Listen, man. Collectibles.
Hey, got people walking. Can't be bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so new style. It appears... offhand, it looks pretty good. It looks interesting. Wow, that is one interesting horse down here. Right behind Pinky.
So many eyes.
It's like the child of discord and a zebra, and I'm not sure what else. I'd be interested to know the story behind that. looking for issues. Not finding many issues because it's the style seems to be consistent across all of them. The only thing I'm really seeing is this front arm here, really dark compared to what you have the leg at. So on the other ones you've done it where, which one's a good example? Yeah, the two right here. The front legs are the same shade as the rest of the body, which makes sense because they're supposed to be represented as one body. The front leg here, however, this one, is the shade of the back. I would keep that consistent with the rest of the style you've been holding, where it's going to be the same color as the body. And if you want to drop just a little bit of a hint for the shape on the back, you can just leave a darkened line around there. Because it looks like there is a bit of a dark line left on this guy here. Yeah. Just the littlest bit of an edge, just a little bit of color to it.
My main suggestion is stay away from black. Characters can be like black, but don't use very dark black, because I cannot see any distinguishingness to the black itself. And I see, if you look really close, it seems like you have sort of outlines on this character. There's a way to make black look black without using black. And it's very hard when a character is completely black to tell anything about it whatsoever. So I would just play with pulling up, maybe up on the gray a little bit, because it'll still be perceived as black, but we won't lose everything because we can still use those black outlines to determine maybe like the smile that's probably missing, or the wing definition, or all that stuff. But that's just my 2 cents. Feel free to play with that. I've just always heard in character design you should stay as far away from pure black as you can.
This is my understanding too. So you're not alone in this.
Yeah. Because like I said, still can use black, but there's better ways to do black than just using dark black.
So where to go from here? I don't have...
I mean, one thing I'd say here is with your stylization of it, I think it's pretty interesting and unique in how you construct each of the characters in your scene. It kind of takes on that cutouts, like paper cutout shadow box look, and I think that's pretty unique. I don't really often see things like that. So I don't have much I can say for lighting or for anything like that, because I don't think that's what you're going for. So that's good. I think an interesting project for you in the future to try, which may help you also in what we're all talking about with this, is actually see if you can do a shadow box of this. And that could help you understand each of the shapes and their differences. But one thing that comes to me here is I don't really see like distance in the piece in between each of the characters. I mean, with what you do, the only real way you can tell that is because of sizing. But I would take a look at distances, because it looks like all this is on one plane. It even kind of looks like the background is on one plane, and it just kind of throws me off a bit. Like I said, nothing wrong with that. Just saying, look at that, see if there's anything you can improve there, because that could be one way to help you in differentiating the characters from the scene, especially if you add more into the background or around the characters. That kind of dilutes it. So that comes to mind. And I can't really talk much to the composition here or the features. There's not really a lot I can say just because of how you construct it. So I mean, honestly, that's the only one that comes to mind right now on me. Outside of doing the lighting, which I think we kind of just lightly touched on, and not what you're going for here, I'm not sure what else to say, really.
Alright. Maze Temporal. You wanted us to do your pick, right? Just double checking before we throw it up here.
They say, yes, please.
Alrighty. Looks like a big stuffy dragon hugging a fluffy Zai. So, biggest issue I'm seeing right now is he's not holding up to his name of being ridiculously fluffed. Just fluff. Fluff. No, but seriously.
Fluffy.
His limbs seem quite stretched. In fact, his body seems very stretched too. Is long part of your style? Like if we compare head size to body, we're getting like two heads to the body. But your limbs are that long, so it sort of gives an anthro feel, which is fine because you want to sort of have a little consistency to that sort of feel. If you make really long limbs but then a small body, your proportions feel weird. You feel like it feels off. But if you're stretching everything, then it's fine. It works. But you say it was an accident, so just shrink down the body a bit. Bring the hip in. I'm going to give it a darker color here. Bring the hip in. Do it in somewhere around here. Somewhat tragically, really. Don't worry, you'd go out in a bang and then have a movie made about you. It'd be great. That was a tragically hip joke, everyone, in case you didn't get it.
Terrible.
I really want to see that movie, because watching that live was incredible.
Which movie?
There's a movie coming out about the Tragically Hip, major Canadian band. They played a performance in their hometown of Hamilton as their final performance because the lead singer has cancer, and it's like they give him 0% chance of living after 8 months. But he has they played a final show just as a send-off, and it was in Hamilton, and it was wonderful. And they actually stopped broadcasting on many of our networks and broadcast that instead, live and free. And then they put it on 4K video online for streaming for free. And it was just insane. That doesn't even happen for things like the Olympics. But Tragically Hip goes out in style, and apparently all the stations follow them.
Beautiful.
Alright, someone made...
For some reason I thought you were talking about hipsters. I was confused.
No.
Pencil Case came in.
Yep.
She came in and gave the fluffy treatment.
You just had to say that, because now the first thing when you said that came to mind was that she came in like a wrecking ball, and that's the first thing that came to mind.
Alright, so I've just taken your limbs and just made them slightly, or work with that size of the head that you had. Might want to make the head bigger, just a bit bigger for that. Rounder. There we go. Beyond that, not seeing any issues. This is very much like a giant teddy bear dragon, right? Like it's a stuffed animal or inflated animal, something like that. My head is full of fluff.
Floofy, poofy.
Enormous low quality. You know what? I think it works for that.
Yeah, the bigger the piece or component, sometimes it's best to be lower quality. I think a good example is I know this is going to seem weird, but I'm going to explain it, is the spaceship from the first Independence Day movie, the only good one. On one of the topics the developers actually talked about with this is they had this chance to make this super complex thing or anything like that, but oftentimes the bigger the shape or the thing is, it's easier to make it simpler. And that actually makes it look more complex, and it's easier to utilize. It's like, think of the Death Star. The Death Star is a giant sphere, and it's not made to be this thing with all, like, as you zoom in, it's closer with the imperfections and the other things on it, but as you're looking at the image, it's not really detailed. And that's good, because it gives a sense of being big. It gives a sense of being simple, because the bigger something is, the simpler it has to be in how it's made, because it's harder to make it unique with all these little things in it as you make it big. Now, if you're closer to it, that's going to change it. But if you're looking at just whatever, like, the bigger it is, the less detail it is, that's okay. So I think that's Living Dead's right on the point, what he says there.
My 2 cents here, since it's not really anthro, I would consider bringing Pony, the way the limbs bend are slightly different. The way you have it is much more human, but with how Ponies bend, it's more of like a zigzag and overlap. It's hard to do, so small. Cover things up so it can be trying to think how to, like, comfortably do it. It feels like it's very squished up at the moment. Like, I'd almost want the leg to be down a little bit more. Just under it, I drew kind of how it might fit better.
So, since we're quiet, I guess I'll go. One of the good things I'll say is, since you're doing digital, like, a very positive proponent of digital is that you can redo and change things. It's not hard to do that compared to traditional, in different words. So one of the things I recommend you experiment with is kind of jumping on what was said earlier, is when you draw an object behind an object, what I've seen so far is that you like to stretch it. So one of those ways that you can work on that is actually just try drawing shapes and then draw the shapes again behind another shape. So let's say drawing squares or two circles together, kind of like the body here. Draw those separately, but then draw a square or some big object like this again, and then try and draw those behind it and do it the same as the one you've done. That way, you'll be able to visually see and work on it yourself as to how these look when they're the same, rather than trying to judge it by eye without having that understanding about its composition. So try doing that, because what it will do will allow you to see that shape that you've already drawn and then repeat that shape but behind another shape. So it gives you that sense of understanding its finiteness as well as its extent for how it exists. So rather than overstretching or trying to overcompensate because you're not able to visually see it, so you think that it will look this way, it allows you to limit it in the correct way it needs to be. So that way you can draw it like this in the future and have those limits in place to say, okay, this stretches out this far. It's not going to be overstretched like a giraffe here. And then you're able to put those limiters in there for you to draw like that in the future. And then to add that weight, add that movement, add that everything else you're looking to do. Unfortunately, because I don't have my tablet with me in my location here, I can't draw it. I don't have access to the drawing like everyone else is right now. But trying to figure out how I could do it. I guess I'll just explain sadly for now, unfortunately. But take the body example here that you're looking at with the plushie image that they drew, that Living Dead drew the green circles. So take those green circles of the body, like exactly what he did, and do that without any shapes on top of it. So without the plushie on top of it, just do it normal. But then with that to the side, insert the plushie, and then do it again with a shape on top of it, just like you have here. So you're looking at what has already been done without the shape, and you're doing that with the shape now. You're trying to recreate that. Now, when you do that, you're looking at what you've already done, and you recreate that with something on top of it that hides the visibility of the shapes behind it. So that way you limit it together. And so without just doing it one way and just trying to make it work behind it and think it works, you see how it works and you repeat that, so that way you're able to construct that again. So in the end, you'll have at least two different things, one without and one with on top of it. But you'll be able to see both, and you'll be able to create those limits within your own mind at how far the body will extend. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't draw it myself right now. But I think if you do that, that will help you out a lot. I'm not really sure what else to say here. Maybe add more ponies to the plushie.
Just like thousands of them.
Yeah, thousands of pony plushies on top of the ponies in there. So do little Alley Claw plushies everywhere like she always draws. On top of the little plushie and all around Fluffy's eye there. And maybe add a bunch of other ponies in there too. And yeah, trying to add more to the scene, I guess, is where I'm going as well. I mean, you can always do more. And it just feels like there's not a lot here. I know that's what you're going for, so don't take it like I'm saying do or don't. I'm just saying maybe try and see if you can add more to the scene. I think you'd like to do that. Plus, it would give you more practice. As to the lines, they're in the reference composition piece that I linked earlier, that Google Doc. Actually, yes, and I can give an example for this one because it's something. But if you open that up, I'll link it again.
So your line quality is not bad. They're smooth. They aren't broken. They look like you've spent enough time on them. The only thing I would suggest is working a little more on line weights, which means that... What are you doing there, Ellie? Sorry.
Making it bigger. Yeah.
Okay. Line weights. Line weights is the difference between thick lines and thin lines as they pertain to your image. They can be a really long and complex topic to actually go over, so I'm not going to try and describe when they shouldn't be used. My suggestion would just be hop on the Googler and search line weights, and you'll find a whole lot of information on it. Skryla? Whatever that YouTube service is where they do a bunch of wonderful educational videos. They have some great videos on it.
Also, just keep in mind that line quality will always be improving the more you draw. So while it's good now, it's only going to get better with practice and research. So like, don't ever think like, oh, I've mastered lines, so I can just not worry about it anymore. It's all things in art grow gradually with each other.
Okay, so I linked... So since you couldn't get on there, anyways, I linked two of the images I wanted to really reference here. Now, just give the story. I actually asked a similar question like this many years ago to another artist, a friend of mine I knew by the name of Rattlecat. Now, these are some of my absolute favorite examples to give on that. I had it on that Google Doc as well. There's two of them. The first that is up right now is the shading value contour depth. It's a simple way. So give Rattlecat all their, like, everything for this. This is their stuff. And the second one's line art tips, exactly here, with thick lines, thin lines, lighting on how it affects, and distance. And it will give you a good understanding about how you could try and take that and experiment with it in your own way. The second is on shading, value, contour, and depth, on how, first off, it complements with the line art of the first one, but second off, it allows you to bring in those other elements to create that piece and gives you at least a basic example about how that works. So what I'd recommend is you save these, and you can use these to look at least a simple view about how each of those components work and then work together, and just some notes on that stuff. So simple stuff. Again, Rattlecat's the one that you should be giving thanks for this. They do awesome art. They're a good person. And yeah, it's a good way for you at least to maybe help you with that same question that you just asked. But yeah, it kind of goes into lighting too, like we had talked in the past with the other individuals who had questions on that. So yeah, just note here with this and go for it.
All right. Do you have any further questions? If not, we're going to call it an end to the stream this week. We'll see you all again next week. Now, I believe Aliclaw won't be with us next week.
Sad. Nope, won't be.
But we'll have other great characters.
Y'all better come. Better join. You better support them all.
The week after that might also be a little weird. We aren't quite sure what's going to happen with that. We're going to have to play it by ear.
Yeah.
Because we'll be
and don't forget there is Negi as well.
Yes, go Negi. Draw pictures. But if you're going to BronyCon, you can try and find us. You'll find us huddled around a table doing art. Probably, maybe, I don't know.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Sacrificing to the pony gods.
Yeah. We're gonna find a nice, comfortable place.
Do them pony god arts.
There'll also be a ML How to Draw Ponies thing happening at the BronyCon. You'll find us there, too. Very likely. We tend not to miss those. Gotta support it.
If you do go to BCon or GalaCon, make sure to bring, like, a few tips for you. One, if you're looking to do art, bring your sketchbooks with you. Bring at least one sketchbook, do some art there. A great thing that we would always do or encourage people to do is actually sit down with other artists there, do a little circle, sit down, draw some stuff together, learn from each other, actually do that. This is one of those opportunities to where you're actually there with people and you can do great things and be there, not over a computer or anything like that. And that's an awesome opportunity that for some people may be a bit scary. But I'm telling you, personally, you can get a lot of great work from it. You can have people there helping you in person. You can have people understanding, and you look at their stuff, they look at your stuff. Take those opportunities because they seldom come. And you can make a lot of good friendships that you can carry over into learning and doing more with. I'd also recommend keeping your sketchbook with you and walking into the different booths. You can start good conversations with a lot of the vendors or with people around the conventions that can help you understand about how they did art or what they would do differently. You could have a drawing done. You can say, hey, if you have a minute of your time, I'd like to ask you a quick question on this. What would you do differently? Or what would you recommend I take from this piece? Or how did you do this? And they can give you some great examples as to how you could improve and actually be there to do it. It may be hard to ask questions and maybe a bit frightening sometimes, but I'm telling you, the payoff is worth it. And a lot of the things I've picked up, I've done. And some of those people actually maybe take some things from you too. They may learn some stuff from you. I mean, it happens. A case in point for a lot of things I could say, but take those opportunities. Don't be afraid to try new things there. And yeah, there's plenty of things you can do, great pieces of art you can find and make and so on and so on. But it's going to be one of your best opportunities to go somewhere and be somewhere where great art is, where people are willing to help you, and you can sit down and have fun just drawing and making new things. And yeah, I would highly recommend each of you do that because you will learn so much more, not just from your own efforts, but being around people and being around an association where people can learn together without any lag time whatsoever in person. You'll learn so much more there than ever with just sitting behind here at times.
Well, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week.
Ciao.
That one.